Welcome to the Big Biz Show.
Taking care of business.
You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
That is right. It is the Big Biz Show. We got a live studio audience for this edition of the show. Also, John Reese, the founder of the Disrupt Artist Management Network.
Well, Mike, we're doing a different show. We're doing the Biz of Music show.
Biz of Music,
We're going to pull the covers back. We're going to talk to a radio guy. We're going to talk to a promoter and maven in the business. We're going to talk to an artist too. So it's like it's the business of music because you can't pull the covers back. Hey, so I want to talk about Live Nation. I want to talk about AEI. I want to talk about Ticketmaster. Howie Font, of course, our entrepreneur from New York City here to talk about stocks. Look at him. He's already indignant. Howie, I have a question for you. What is the economic impact of live music compared to, let's say, a Super Bowl, which is a one and done?
Well, I just want to say it's been a really excellent show. I've been listening, and it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot today. This was not an area of expertise, but I will say, I mean, when you have an event space, it becomes a local mecca for an economy. So you see in a gravity of smaller businesses circulating around there.
It's
so
a civic asset,
right? Yes. Like a stadium.
Well, you mean like the Charger Stadium? They're dead today.
F word.
But what's interesting is there's companies now like Live Nation, like you said, that it's almost like having Google and Apple and Oracle. And you've got Live Nation, Ticketmaster, and AEG. And nobody's going to move those guys out of the way. But it's just this side, if I'm not mistaken, John, of antitrust. It's just this side of unfair competition, is it not?
Well, that's what's being litigated as we speak, right? That's being litigated.
I have the indictment from the Department of Justice. I really think it's criminal.
Of course you do.
This is pretty monopolistic, garden variety monopolistic activity. So I'd really love all of your reaction to the following. They turned Oakview Group, a potential competitor, into a partner. They retaliate against potential entrants. They threaten and retaliate against venues that work with rivals. They lock out competition. They block venues from using more than just Ticketmaster. They restrict artists' access to the venues, and they acquire competit's and
they've got more cash than the U.S. government, which is probably
and we're talking about a company that makes $22 billion in annual revenue.
So what's
that's
interesting?
Live Nation you're talking about?
That was right.
Live Nation.
So listen, how much is a ticket? A ticket like $300?
Well, it's great. I mean,
if it's
certain bands, but like Beyonce, let's say she just went on sale. Starting was $500. Starting.
Jeez.
And upwards of
But you couldn't get it for $500, could you?
It's a big business, guys.
$500.
But it makes
I heard the word
Supply
cartel.
and demand. Supply and demand.
And if this is the only way they're making money, because they're not selling the album, so this is where they have to raise the price, right? It makes sense.
And this is why bands are becoming activist bands and saying you cannot charge more than this for a ticket when we're playing. Like you think of Pearl, and I think that got squashed too, didn't it?
At the end of the day, it's complicated because the artist has to make money. The agent wants to get him as much money as he can. Something has to pay for that. And that is generally beer, sponsorship, ticket price, etc. And it's very expensive to throw these shows. So it's a difficult problem.
Is the number one OpEx line on a profit and loss artist talent because you got to pay it in advance?
As a promoter, and I was a promoter for 16 years and a rather large one, and at the end of the day, without a four-wall scenario, without four-walling, you can't make money.
So you
cannot make money selling a ticket and paying for everything.
Yeah.
Just doesn't. You have to have it's all about.
Because I'm going to sell the tickets to them, work a deal. That's not happening.
There's a reason you pay $22 for a beer at a concert.
I'm so glad I quit drinking.
That's where the margin is.
Worth every penny, right, Mike?
Yeah, we'll get to it after the break.
Thanks, John Reese. Appreciate it. Howie, thank you. We'll see you Monday.
He's great. He's right on.
He makes us all look.
700 Studios here in kind of not so rainy anymore, sunny Southern California. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, as always, appreciate you being along for the ride. Of course, that music you hear in the background is the world-famous Sullivan Band. Of course, I'm the world-famous Costa sitting here at the bar. Marybird Godwin, our executive producer is Greg Todoroff, and Sully.
3 Grammys, 4 Tonys, and a restraining order. My Costa.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That sounds great today.
Ted Stryker, 25 years of radio in Los Angeles, California. Currently the co-host of Booker and Stryker on Alt 98.7 LA.
Buddy.
He's hosted shows MTV, VH1, 150 episodes of the Ellen DeGeneres Show. Also hosts a syndicated radio countdown show.
Did you just boo him?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a hey.
He hosts the countdown show syndicated Out of Order with Stryker. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ted Stryker.
Thanks, buddy. Good to see you.
Joins us here.
Look at that. What's happening?
So listen, Stryker, you're famous. You're legitimately famous. You've interviewed in your studio there every big name I can think of in music. How did you get started?
Well, first of all, I'm less than a Z-lister, whatever that is. I've had some incredibly famous people in this room, and this is my guest bedroom at home. This is where I do my podcast, Tuna on Toast. But I got started in the early 90s in Tucson, Arizona. I'm from LA. I was going to University of Arizona, and I had no idea that you could work at a radio station. But I met a dude that worked at one, and I just asked if I could check it out. And the next day, I was on the radio, and I was addicted to the job. Like, I couldn't get enough of it. Eat, slept, drank, all of it was radio, and the goal was to get to LA, and somehow miraculously I got here.
Well, second major market for radio, right, Mike? I mean,
Yeah.
Then you've got, now you're on Alt 98.7 now, which is an alternative station, but the biggest thing you do is called Tuna on Toast, which I'm trying to make Tuna on Toast on TV, because I think you should do it here.
Yeah.
We're talking about that show.
I would love to do it in your studio there and work with you. Yeah. Bringing this podcast, Tuna on Toast, to the next level would be amazing. So this is a show. It is 100% a music show. If you like people like Tom Morello and Tom DeLonge and Matt Skiba, Sum 41, Avenged Sevenfold, Mike Shinoda, this is the show for you. They come over to my house. We have an hour conversation.
That's a scam. You had Gwen Stefani in your front room. Come to my studio.
Where did the name
Just don't
come
park
from?
next to the Volkswagen.
Can we
That's
ask
brilliant.
where the name came from? Where did Tuna on Toast come from?
No.
Okay. Unbelievable question, by the way. Thank you for asking that. I love Seinfeld, and there was an episode of Seinfeld where George does everything the opposite, and when he had Tuna on Toast, things went horrible for him in his life, and then he switched to a different sandwich. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do Tuna on Toast, and hopefully it's going to be okay with me. I never thought the show would have any success and the name would stick. I have 20% regret by calling it Tuna on Toast because it doesn't describe that it's a music show and that it's somewhat decent.
Ted Stryker, co-host Booker and Stryker, Alt 98.7 Los Angeles. Ted, if you weren't doing this right now, I mean, what was the original plan as you were growing up?
I loved playing sports, and when I was 12, 13 years old, I was okay at it, but then everyone grew as tall as me and stronger than me, so that was kind of done.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I got lucky because I was 21 when I was on the radio.
Huge.
And I was leading this, I won't call it a double life, but in the morning.
You were. We got some people in the studio I want to talk to you about that. I got a question for you, because in terms of radio, when we got on radio 30 years ago, Mike.
Yep.
It was terrestrial radio was all there was. Like, you could only listen to the Padres on AM 600.
Yep.
Right? It was the only place. And then came digital. Now, of course, that killed that deal. But the only way to really get heard was terrestrial, because if you did a podcast in your garage, it's like nobody's listening, right? It's like, we got a show.
Yeah.
But how did you get to where you had an audience? And when did you know you had an audience?
Oh, wow. An audience for the podcast or just an audience in my life?
Yeah, for the podcast.
For the podcast, it happened, and I say this like in a super humble way, miraculously, like I have no idea how it happened. It's Tom Morello was the first guest from Rage Against the Machine, and the only way I got him as a guest was I sent him a message on Instagram, a DM, and he wrote back. I wrote him this like 1-paragraph message. Tom, I'm starting this new thing. The perfect guest would be you. I know this is a long shot. You want to do it? Within 2 minutes, he wrote back yes. But I knew I had an audience. Within the first 2 episodes, Mike Shinoda, Tom Morello, wasn't just big names, but people from all over the world were messaging me. I could see the numbers going really, really high. I saw that it was charting on Apple, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? I got to stick with this thing. But I think just there's a lot of luck involved and just really, really great guests who open up to me.
I'm not sure that's luck. We've been in this business a long time.
There's a talent with a capital T involved as well. Ted, does Alt 97 let you guys promote the podcast? Because some radio stations are, no. You're only going to promote your show.
We all work for the same place, by the way. So
yeah, exactly.
You're talking.
Ironheart. Anyhow, do they let you promote it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, and any chance that I have, any chance I have an opportunity to slide it in when we're having just a normal conversation, Booker and Stryker and Tom Morello or Tom DeLonge or Phineas, be like, whoever it is, like, oh yeah, don't forget, they were on the podcast a few weeks ago. Make sure to go listen anywhere you get podcasts or watch it on YouTube.
Love it.
So hopefully in a non-promotional way and non-cheesy way, I'm able to slide it in.
Hey, Stryker, who's the biggest name that you've interviewed?
Well,
besides
today.
Us.
Wow. Well, I think it all depends on who you would ask who thinks is the most famous. For me, it's Seth MacFarlane and Dave Grohl overall in my career. Paul McCartney. Hold on, Paul McCartney.
Oh, Paul McCartney. What?
He's
What
still
did you
alive?
ask
so
him?
my degree of separation from wait. So my degree of separation from a Beatle is 1?
Yeah.
Look at this opportunity, Sully, you now have.
Yeah.
You can now take the next step as a result of this interview because of how close I am to a Beatle.
Hey, Ringo, Stryker gave me your number.
Have you had any awkward interviews? Because you were just mentioning the Grammys, and I think people maybe show up a couple drinks in. What's the real awkward moment or maybe a belligerent moment that you've encountered?
Oh, gosh. I got to tell you, on that red carpet at the Grammys, people, for the most part, are very professional. If anybody at all is unprofessional, it's been me. And if I can just tell you a quick, 40-second thing, maybe quicker, it has to do with Tom Morello. I had this opportunity to interview him years ago, and they're like, Stryker, you're going to do this with Tom Morello. You're going to go to the venue and chat with him. So I went, I did a 30-minute interview, and that interview was going to be blasted everywhere. I forgot to hit record.
And you can never tell him. You just act like it was okay. That was a great show. Yeah. Finger crystals.
Best ever.
Good job, buddy. Hey.
Well, no, wait, hold on. No, I did have to tell him because we needed the audio.
He makes $150,000 a show for an hour set list. Yeah, that was brave of you.
So he was very nice, and I got the interview done.
I got a question for you. You are also a guy that's been involved in movies like Grandma's Boy and Sweetest Thing. Talk about the movie side. How'd you get in that? And what are you doing with it?
So, yeah, the movie Grandma's Boy had a small part in The Sweetest Thing. There's a snowboard movie called Out Cold and a few other random ones in TV shows. Again, just so much luck. When it came to Grandma's Boy, which is a movie produced by Adam Sandler, I got a call at the radio station, and they said, hey, there's this little part in here if you would like to come down and be in it. And so immediately I said yes. I was on the set, and if you've seen the movie, it's the David Spade vegan restaurant scene. Yes. I'm the host in that place. But for The Sweetest Thing, there was a time where I was taking acting classes while doing the radio just because I always tried to, try to be decent at things that I know nothing about, like acting. I'm just terrible at acting. But I had a real audition for The Sweetest Thing. It's a Cameron Diaz movie. I went and I auditioned.
Wow. Whoa. I
did the script, and they actually called the next day and said, you weren't that good there, but there's another part that you could be good at. So I got to be in it.
Mike did a movie called On Golden Blonde. It was in the back of the video store.
I was about to ask
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Food. It was the back of Blockbuster, if I'm not mistaken.
I was just about to ask him any Cinemax After
One
Dark.
One more question, buddy. Thanks for your time. I know you got to get on the air.
Type of movies. Ted, all that you're involved with, what makes you the happiest? Is there one thing that you're like, nah, this is my gold right here?
Oh, God, my favorite thing is connecting with one individual who is watching or listening to the content that I'm putting out.
That's beautiful.
I feel worse about myself. He's the best. He's the nicest guy I've ever met.
I know. I've got so much I need
Which
to
is
do.
why he's successful.
Right. What are you saying?
Well, no, you guys are six. I'm sitting here in a guest bedroom with a sign that is barely on your screen right now with a picture of the guy from Bewitched. I mean, that's really classic.
Our signal goes to the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Can I ask really fast before we go if your name has a throwback to the movie Airplane? Because when I heard Ted Stryker, I thought, wait, that sounds familiar.
We all did.
Yeah.
I picked the wrong week to do Zooms on some cockamamie TV show.
Good one.
Do you like gladiator movies?
Yes, and I have seen a grown man naked. Not impressive.
Stryker, I want you to come in studio and tape your show here.
Have to.
Yes.
I'm telling you, Tuna on Toast.tv. Give me a hand. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Bye.
Would it kill you to talk about my band?
All right, keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show. Live television audience. We're back after this.
$125 million TV homes across the country, and of course on BizTV, American Life Network, and of course 175 countries and all the ships at sea on American Forces Networks. God bless our military men and women.
Rick, I want to make sure I have this right. Is it Kaleo or Kaleo?
Kaleo.
Kaleo Pepper
Let's
is
go
the...
Kaleo.
Whatever. Mr. Pepper, as we're going to address him today, lead singer guitarist of the band name Pepper. Pepperlive.com is their website. And this guy's story is incredible in the world of reggae. His dubs band Pepper and Sabotage sound system. And he has just been, I don't want to say he's spinning gold with everything he does.
Dude, you're like Elvis.
But he is spinning gold with everything he does.
It's crazy.
Most importantly, he's a wonderful human.
I keep on, well, I wouldn't know because Rick kept me from him. Kaleo, great to see you, man.
Hey guys, thank you for that incredible intro. And by the way, you can call me Mr. Pepper. I know my name's a little hard to pronounce, but actually it's Dr. Pepper.
Yeah,
I didn't go. I didn't go through all this to just be Mr. Okay,
I love it.
I'm just going to call you Bones.
I love it. Thank you, Doctor.
Wait a second. Would you look on the screen? Is the only guy maybe as cool as you as Lenny Kravitz? I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If we put that on, we would get arrested as predators.
Where are you zooming in from?
Tube top and look.
Yeah. There'd be a
Dude,
knock at the door.
Can I ask you, because I've had the opportunity to play, as like Big Fist Little Pond in San Diego. But what is it like, honestly? I mean, are you shaking like Don Knotts when you walk out there and there's 50,000 people? I mean, seriously, there's got to be a thing at some point, and there's got to be a thing that you get used to at some point, because that's a lot of people.
Well, if I were ever to get used to it, I think I'd be over it. I'd be done with it, or it would be done with me. There's something to be said about having those jitters, but also too, it kind of makes me personally focus a lot more into the service that I'm about to provide for however many people are there. And you got to keep in mind, like, we're just a small band that started at house parties in Kailua, Kona. And Pepper is the three same members as we did in 1997. So we've been able to work our way through like every situation of a crowd, whether it was a house party, into bars, into small clubs, into bigger venues, and then into big festivals.
It's interesting because as we've grown as a band, and we play like it with 700 people, that's a lot of people in a small club, but I'm still looking at them.
Yeah.
It's still like they're, I can smell their, chick vomit. But when you're in those things, how do you connect with those guys when they're 45 feet away? Is it still easy to do?
Yeah, it is. It's because it's undeniable, like, how much fun they're having. And then it sends it right back to you in an energetic kind of way of like, it took so much for that individual, that just one person to get there, whether it was spending money on the ticket, the babysitter,
the parking,
how they got their shift covered for the next day. We've got Uber expenses. We've got beer that's like $16-18. We have merchandise, and they're there, and they're so present. And even though they're on their phone capturing the moment, they're still enjoying it and being present in that way.
How cool is it to watch them sing your lyrics along with you? When you start seeing, like, you went from the smaller clubs, and then all of a sudden there's all these people, and they're singing your lyrics back to you. How cool is that?
Like when I wrote Happy Birthday, it was an unbelievable feeling.
Oh, that's a big song. Great song.
Yes, to answer your question, it's fantastic because when I'm on stage, I kind of forget some of the lyrics, and so all I have to do is actually look at them, and they help me out. They're like a real life teleprompter.
You're phoning it in. I love it.
Kaleo Wassman, the lead singer and a guitarist of Pepper, of course. Their website is pepperlive.com. You've been doing it with guys, friends you met in high school. You talk about longevity. I assume you have to love and really get along with the people, especially in a band that you've been with since high school. What's the key to that chemistry?
I really kind of credit that to being born and raised in Kailua, Kona, where it was a very, very small town back then. And there was just a different kind of, growing up. And the respect that was, brought to us as children and how to come up with that with all of our parents and our uncles and our aunties. And our cousins, and you just kind of understand this little town is your family. Kona is, and you know what you'll always see on anything that's with Pepper. It's just representing Kona since day one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And all three of us being from there and growing up in a very small town with the ocean, surfing, hiking, and a lot of just family gatherings and stuff. It really just feels kind of like we're taking Kona everywhere that we go around the world when we play.
Hey, Kaleo,
and that's because it's really instilled in us that beautiful upbringing that we were able to fortunately have.
You bring up small town and family. Isn't that what you guys do when you go on tour with a guy like John? You've got a tour manager, you've got a little traveling town and family there that goes. Pull the covers back for us, and what is that like as an artist? Are you guys completely separate from the crew, the tour manager, and the crowd, or is it kind of like in concert, like a symphony?
Yeah, it's completely different from what you just said. What it is it's
that
just
would be
a
the
group
first
of
time
people it's a group of people that are there to provide this beautiful service. And when we all work together and it's all synergistic, then the show and the experience is really laid out the way that we wanted it to. And it's like I said, it's a really big thing for just even one person to get out there. Yeah. So when you're thinking about 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people, it just gets amplified by that much. So you got to bring your best to this experience for them, and it only makes the experience better for you in that turn.
Hey, so John, when you have to move the chess pieces around, right? When there's a wink and a nod that he's going here, he's going there. Kaleo's got his bowl of green M&Ms in the dressing room, and whatever it takes. Is that just after a while you get into a groove on that thing, or is it known?
It's all a groove. I mean, I've worked with Kaleo, booked Pepper a number of times in my.
How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
It's great to see you, brother. Great to see you. And I mean, he's just a magical dude. And it's really about ingratiating a fan experience.
Whatever you do in life, whether it's like a king or a street sweeper or whatever your position, you're in the service industry. That's really it. And so to embrace that and to love that. And just to know what being on Earth is for me personally, it's like, okay, great. And it sets me off I get to do this, I don't have to, I get to do this. This is a beautiful situation.
See, Mike has to because he's married and he's also in the service industry.
Pretty much, yeah. And for the record, I am not Fat Mike, even though I may appear to be that guy.
Oh, good.
Kaleo, is home base Kona for you?
So we have a property in Kona. But I live in California for the most part now. When the boys and I all moved over in 1999, we've moved to a town called Carlsbad, California.
Hey.
Oh, you mean like where we're at right now?
Oh, if that's where you are.
Would it kill you to rehearse here? Would it kill you to give us some business, for God's sakes?
Hey, you guys are invited to any rehearsals. But so now since we got one guy living in Spain and one guy living by the studio in LA, I moved to Oceanside, and I've been there for 15 years now, and I absolutely love this town. It's so familiar to me.
It's San Diego.
He mentions
there's a lot of.
Kaleo, you mentioned Oceanside, and I think there's the aloha spirit in Oceanside because of the Pacific Islander community, just like Kona is. But when you're walking around Oceanside, are you just Kaleo, Oceanside resident, cool guy everyone loves?
Look, man, wherever I walk, I'm just Kaleo. Sure. And so I'm just lucky, and I'm just lucky enough that I get to hang out in Oceanside and have a lot of friends that I have made over the last 15 years that have been living there ever since they were kids.
Kaleo Wassman, the lead singer, guitarist of Pepper. Of course, the website, pepperlive.com. Would it kill you to drive 11 minutes south to come to Carlsbad?
Come on, we got Beanie Weenies on Wednesday.
Yeah. Much more of the Big Biz. Keep it right here. Continue from the Loft 100 Studios. It is the live music, live band edition of the BBS. Hope everybody's having a great day. Thanks for being along for the ride. I am Costa, sitting way over here at the end of the bar. Of course, Barry Bergama, our executive producer, and Sully.
Were you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah. I had 3 Celsius before the show.
I started taking roids again because I've been working out so much. So it's just, I think that's what's happening.
Again?
So does that explain? So the muffin top is all of this now. Is that your head or is your neck blow a bubble?
Pretty much.
Can I ask you?
Ask me anything.
So are you hopped up? Because it seemed like you had a couple Starbucks before the show.
Yes, I have had a lot
He's
of
just
coffee.
excited with the live studio audience.
Or as Greg would say, there's a lot of walking through the smorgasbord.
Let's not forget, he's getting good night's sleep now.
Oh, I know he is. That's right.
Friends at Vivos.
Right.
Vivos.
Yeah, our friends. Yeah, you've heard that on the show. That's good. You kind of skated on that deal for free, didn't you?
Big time.
I just wonder why you went to the dentist. They made you disrobe.
It was weird. Yeah. No, he did it voluntarily.
I know he did.
I don't have teeth at my ankles. What the hell?
All right, those are the days.
Oh, goodness.
Greg, we have John Reese in, another music maven. He's a disrupt artist. He's a. Have you heard of the band LA Guns?
Yes.
Have you heard of the band Guns N' Roses?
Yes.
Well, he may or may not be the manager of Guns N' Roses.
Wow.
Not the manager, the tour manager. Close enough.
So I'm not the assistant manager. I'm the assistant to the manager.
There you go.
It's still impressive. Great to have you, man.
Great to be here.
Can you, so obviously we're doing a business and music show today, and we want to have like one of each, because really, if you think about the artist, and then you think about the guys that are making the tours, then you think about the guys on the radio. And back in the day, there's a thing that me and Mike have to sign every year, and I'm not kidding. It's called a payola clause.
Ugh.
And what it means is we have to sign a piece of paper that says, we agree not to take bags of heroin and cash to play your song. That's basically what it says.
That's right.
And it came out, I can't remember, 1970 or 1965. And we still have to do it because radio was the only pathway to distribution. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you, that went out the window.
Sure has changed. Sure has.
I mean, honestly, it was like I was saying about the Padre game, right? Suddenly you didn't have just one radio station. How has that changed your business? Is that better?
Well, look, man, my life changed on July 20th, 1977. I was 16 years old in Phoenix, Arizona, and I saw Led Zeppelin. Wow. And to me, the greatest rock band in the history of the world.
Hey.
Well, Sullivan's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
No, but talking about disruptors, right? We went from I want to hold your hand to this thing that was, oh my goodness.
Well, it works perfect for my segue into the music business. Here I'm 16 and then I'm 27 and I'm at the Sweet Child of Mine video shoot.
Interesting how you lost those 10 years during the 60s.
Yeah.
So if you see the movie Almost Famous, it talks about Lester Bangs and about how that whole scene, a lot of it in San Diego. Yeah. Was it easier to slip into the business back then because you weren't in it and then you were in it?
You had an interesting way into the business.
Well, I in college I started as security. The yellow jacket guys that are in front of the big gorilla dudes that are in front of
me and Mike have one in the back of the car in case we go anywhere.
There you go. Makes sense. I started a company called VIP Event Services at Arizona State, and so I did concert security. First big show that we did with my own company was a band called Queen.
Wow. Oh my God!
No way.
So you were the guys that kept people from going backstage.
Exactly.
Or let them in, depending.
Yeah, well, back then you could go backstage, but you had to do something.
Now we're talking.
Back then.
Did you big time Freddie Mercury? Like, hey, can I see your ID?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something, man. Flash forward to 91, and we did the Freddie Mercury tribute with Axl and with Elton John. One of the most magical things at Wembley Stadium. But Freddie Mercury was a god. Mm-hmm. He was the greatest frontman in history. Axl Rose is the greatest voice in history in rock. And I've been blessed to have a almost 40-year career with all this.
Don't you love that you're in it because you loved it, not because, it's amazing that you thought of it when you were age 16.
But his spectrum goes from Axl Rose to Pope John Paul II.
Is that is that the international symbol for spectrum?
I think so.
It is. No, everyone says I'm on the spectrum, so that's a different question.
But it's true. And what I find interesting is on the business side, you had no business doing security for the Queen, for Queen at that age. How did you manage that? You had to have.
I went to work for this big company that did Super Bowls and everything, and then I became the district manager. I got them a ton of business, and they wouldn't pay me. So I'm like, can I use the word F?
Sure.
Yes, you could use that.
So I said basically F you, and I started my own company with a couple people, and before you know it, so then
Attaboy.
I went to started doing personal. Back then we called them bodyguards.
So like this.
What do we call them now? We don't call them bodyguards?
Personal security.
Personal security.
Oh.
Venue security. So then I started doing a bunch of bands, got a phone call that an artist needed a tour manager that could deal with people on drugs. Guys that used drugs.
You know what we call that? Tuesday. So my question is so interesting because the day that you didn't get paid was a pretty pissed off day. And if you fast forward even a month or so, it was the best thing that happened to you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Isn't that how it happens? We always talk about the radio business, how, look, if you're emptying the trashes or you're the receptionist, you're going to be on the air someday.
You're in the building.
You'll be the number one show.
Yep.
Tell us what a tour manager does, because that's different than a manager.
Wow. Yeah. The tour manager basically is the babysitter in chief, if you will. And
get him to the Greek,
coordinating everything. I mean, we played about 300 stadiums in 3.5 years, all over the world.
Filled that belly up with 600 people a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All 5 continents on a private 727. I was 28, Axel was 27, Slash was 25. We were freaking kids.
How did you babysit those guys?
How are you still alive?
No cell phones, no internet.
Yep.
They're just gone and you can't find them.
No, isn't that interesting how
it's in their books. Multiple
and then 86 happened.
Multiple riots all over the world. They were literally from 1988 to 1992. They were Taylor Swift. They were that big.
That was the time when we all had pagers, and everyone it looked like the shootout, the OK Corrals, would be like this.
Yeah.
Do you think because you didn't have access to every bit of communication and people weren't up your, every second, every day like you are now, that it was easier or was it more efficient?
You and I are the same age, by the way. We're born 14 days apart.
One more day, I would have been over. Because I got these guys on the dating site thinking I'm 45.
Yeah. 14 days apart. But at the end of the day, I'm blessed to be the age that I am to experience it without social media, without all this insanity, with real news and Walter Cronkite and shit that felt.
We had
real.
that conversation the other day about there is no Edward G. Murrow, there's no Walter Cronkite. You have to listen to Fox and CNN and
journalism's dead.
And us because it's all editorialized.
It's all opinion these days. It's all entertainment.
I want to know about the music side of it because it seems to me. Listen, there's geniuses that age, and there's geniuses now. But there's so much out there now because the accessibility is out there. Mm-hmm. I think we're missing a lot of them.
Absolutely.
And I think there was a secret sauce back then to having a band go in and make it. I think part of it was timing, right?
Well, look, it was a different world. We talked about it earlier. Radio. It was radio. It was Rip magazine. It was there was no internet. You had to go tour your off, then you hoped that your song got on the radio, then you hoped that you got enough support at radio and that the song connected that you got on MTV. That was the world in 1985 to 1990.
God, it's such a circuitous route now. It's not even close to that anymore.
It's playlisting. It's just completely different.
Did the stress from what you did ever affect you adversely?
Well, I was sober when I was with Guns N' Roses because I had to be.
Sure.
Basically.
Mike's been sober for 70 days.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Not in a row. Yeah. Not consecutively.
But
I want
the
you to stay with us.
responsibility on your shoulders.
It was awesome, man. Are you kidding me? We flew around. We stayed in the best hotels in the world on private jets, watching Axl and that band just freaking crush it.
Yeah.
Right? Changing people's lives. There's nothing, and he knows this. There's nothing like music.
No, there's
music is the most magical life force on earth, man.
For sure.
I agree. I wonder. I know what you're asking. Because what you're asking is, if you look back at the younger John Reese, would you say, how the hell did I do that? Because it was a different time, and that was a big building on your shoulders to do.
The best of times, the best of buildings, a lot of stress. We had 5 riots. We had so much that happened over those years. I mean, you watch Behind the Music on VH1, it explains it all right there. I watched it the other night, and I was just like, wow, all that really happened in my life. And,
wow.
you know, it was magical when I was a kid.
And the amazing part is for us on the outside, remember we were talking about some of the bands back then? It's so mystical. It's so glitzy from out here. Mm-hmm. And when you meet the people that are really in the business, they're just dudes like you. They're just people in an extraordinary position. I want to keep you here because we have a pretty famous artist joining us here. I want you to be on that interview. And I also want to talk about the Disrupt Artist Management and the damn podcast. But we got a special guest right here for a second. I think cool. Mary's going to like him, and I think you guys will join him in a second. James, take us out. So we'll get to that. John Reese, it's so great to have you here because it's interesting to see sort of how the sausage is made, how it was made back then, and then today you're so thankful for being in the business still. Do the personalities change? Is the digital thing change everything? Or are you still happy to get up in the morning because I know you're pivoting another direction with big events?
Well, when Napster came out, I knew that the recorded music business, the music business was going to change. So I pivoted at that point and kind of got out of the management side and got into festivals. And from
that's not complicated.
2004 to 2019, I produced, curated, co-created 50 plus music festivals.
Wow.
A lot of them played here in town at the Waterfront Park,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Doheny State Beach. Me and my partner bought 130 something dinosaurs from China and shipped them to Ohio and did 160,000 people.
Is there any? I know.
Of course you did.
I love the festival thing. I just love. You got your baby, you got your blanket, you got your bucket of beer. Yeah. Right? I mean, honestly, there's nothing like a festival like in San Diego.
No. So what's the first step in that? Do you go out and you find investors? It takes a lot of money to put on a festival, obviously.
I didn't have enough when I started, and I was working with a company called me in 2004. There was about a $30 million company, and they were an energy drink. The company's called Rockstar Energy Drink.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
They got shut out of the business by Red Bull and by Monster, and they wanted to be in music. Mm-hmm. So Kevin...
And they had the better name.
Yeah. Kevin Lyman and I, who created the Warped Tour, among other things, he and I created this festival called Taste of Chaos, and we took it all over the world. And with that, we helped Rockstar then set their distribution around the world, and all of a sudden, 15 years later, he sells it for $4.5 billion.
Wow.
So in that time period, between 2005 and 2019, we gave away 12.5 million cans of Rockstar Energy.
Wow.
That's how they.
Wow.
This is why people like you on the show, because we would never know that. I remember in the capital formation business, I raised money for Kaboo. And I was
Ernie Hahn.
Yeah. I was up to my waist in that deal. But I realized what those guys were selling was a food and beverage play. It wasn't a rock and roll play. Is that kind of a theme, or did they just do it because they're no longer here?
Well, look, all due respect to Kaboo, it's very hard to be all things to all people. We already have that with kind of Coachella.
Yeah, right.
It's tough to compete against these monstrosities. Then you have AEG and Live Nation, who are behemoths, multi-billion-dollar companies. My niche was partnering with, rock stars, Travis Barker, Eddie Vedder, Excision, all these major artists, Fat Mike from NoFX.
What are you pointing at me for?
Because you talked about him earlier.
You pointed right there.
So that was my wheelhouse, was creating these lifestyle events, because then it's very niched to a specific lifestyle. So we didn't try to be all things to all people. We tried to create a vibe that was about that.
So, do you know what's interesting? As an investor, it took me forever, and I've talked to you about this. The action sports retail business, What makes a pair of board shorts that say No Fear or Hurley higher selling than the one that says Sully and John's Tequila Factory? And I found out finally from investing in it, it's influencers. They always had an influencer. And in your business, you partner with big bands. That's your influencer. And you worked out a better mousetrap for those guys.
Well, Rick DeVoe, who's sitting over there in VIP.
Oh, who's he? Rick DeVoe!
He was a huge part of blowing up Hurley, the company Hurley. And,
because didn't Blake start wearing Hurley stuff on stage?
Him and Paul Gomez, I'll tell the story.
Yeah, go for it.
Him and Paul Gomez and the guys, they loved Hurley anyway, but they wore it on the MTV Awards. The next day, everybody in the country's wearing Hurley. That was Rick DeVoe.
All of it came from Rick wanting free board shorts.
I just wanted free board shorts.
So did I.
I'm a surfer. So.
Mary and I, God bless you, tried everything for 10, 15 years for our band. And until we realized the only thing that matters is not the video, it's not the recording, it's you got to fill up a room with 300 tickets that will pay for you. Then I got his attention. He goes, wait a second, how many people that hold? How many times to sell it out? Suddenly, if you can sell a hard ticket, and I tell every young artist now, game the system.
That's right.
Like, forget about these damn photo shoots and I look like a rock star. Fill up a room and they're willing to pay you.
The most valuable thing that I've done in a 40-year music career is watching a young artist become a superstar. And I've done it lots of times. Rick's done it lots of times.
Well,
and it's valuable, man.
Geez.
It's valuable to your soul to see, because people connect to music in a different way than anything else.
Are ticket companies, ticket agencies still your friend or no? Because I know a lot of artists are like, you know what, we're going to sell our own tickets. We're not going to involve
Don't you have to go through Ticketmaster?
I don't know. That's why I asked.
So the large-scale concert business is controlled by mainly one company, Live Nation, and a little bit by AEG. But it's very, very, very. I had an independent company, and it's very difficult. You got to have you got to have a Brinks truck behind you with lots of zeros behind it to be successful, because you're going to have losers. You're going to have losing things. And when that happens, you can go down for millions of dollars.
Yeah. Talk about your event that's coming up. This is really interesting.
Well, my whole career was about, helping artists grow up. And with that, also helping human beings get into the music space, because there is no real Music U besides Musicians Institute and so forth. So we're launching a masterclass, what we call a mentor series, called Breaking Into the Music Industry. We've assembled 24.
That's not going to be popular at all. The name, Breaking Into the Music Business.
Yeah.
You're going to sold out the first day.
It's not sold out yet, but we're doing well. But we have 24 of the top people in the music industry. We have Rich Best, who's the promoter for the biggest band in the world right now, Rufus Du Sol, Pearl Jam, Foo Fighters, Linkin Park. Corey Brennan, who manages 42 bands, some of the biggest bands in the world. Matt Sorum, drummer of Velvet Revolver, Guns N' Roses, The Cult. All these amazing artists, but what we try to do is the whole sphere of the music business, because a lot of times you're not going to be the guy that's playing the guitar and making a lot of money, but maybe you're behind the scenes. Maybe you're a sound technician. Maybe you're a concessionaire. We've tried to assemble 24 of the premier people in the music space so people can come and spend 3 days with them and be mentored.
Because that was not available before. What's really interesting about that is that you're teaching how the sausage is made from the beginning, and this has never been available before. And if you think in terms of an artist that would actually listen to you, I mean, they could have a chance, right?
We're going to have a spectrum of attendees from college students all the way to 80-year-old people that want to learn about the music business, because there's no class out there. And so with this, the venue is this incredible 5-acre estate in Coachella where it's a vibe. So we do general assembly sessions and then breakout sessions. So each of the mentors, you'll have the opportunity to go and talk to them directly.
Could you imagine sitting to him in a corner for 5 minutes if you were a band?
Oh my God.
So we're setting up different areas in the estate, and I mean, it's very peaceful, very calm, big ballroom. It's fabulous, and it's like right next to Coachella and Stagecoach.
Well, let's promote that going on this show going forward, because we have a little
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
John, it's been great having you today. I got to tell you, got to come back with us. I want a whole show with you.
Thank you. We'll do it.
I want to pin you in the corner and ask you about the music business.
You got it. Thank you, brother.
Good to see you.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Great stuff.